Hamza, do you have the balls to call Jesus a pussy, a retard? About Christianity? How about Islam? How about Buddhism? Am I some cringy philosopher to you who doesn't know what he's talking about and has a trash, fat physique? Sure, but the truth is the truth no matter where the message comes from, right? If Hitler said that killing Jews was wrong, it doesn't mean that killing Jews is wrong. So I hope you can listen to my message and avoid critiquing me. You can critique me, honestly. People critique you, I should be able to handle critique, right? Okay. First of all, my name is Nico, and this is episode a billion of uploading a video to YouTube every single day so I get better at speaking to the camera. Today's video was motivated by a Hamza email. If you guys don't know who Hamza is, he's, I don't know if I can say it, the biggest men's self-improvement channel out there. You know, there's Andrew Tate, Tony Robbins, Ali Abdal, and a bunch of other guys. But I think at least within Gen Z and the YouTube game in general, he's the biggest name. He has faced a lot of criticism in the past, and I've criticized him in the past, not that he knows me, and he's used to these criticism videos because they're everywhere. A bunch of them have blown up, and me personally, I just read this email and I thought I could talk about a really fun topic. That's the main reason I'm doing this. It's not from a place of hate. It's from a place where I feel like I can provide a lot of value to people that aren't your target audience. It's mixed in with half of your target audience, but this is for the people who watch your channel who you could serve better, Hamza. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the email. I don't know when you sent it, but I was checking my spam inbox and I saw some Hamza emails. Not that I purposely want to send you to spam, but look at me trying to justify my actions. I'm such a pussy, right? It was a video about this guy, I'm guessing in your school community, who said men should uplift each other up instead of shaming them into action. And you are totally right, honestly. You've thought about this before, I'm sure. I know you're very reflective, and you're at the end of the day a fair person who does want to create a change, right? And you truthfully, from the bottom of your heart, believe that shaming causes these young men to actually change. And quoting you, it lights a fire under, what'd you say? A fire under their asses, something like that. It sparks that fire, right? Does it? Absolutely. It absolutely does. At the end of the day, I personally have never changed my life until I got to the point where I experienced enough pain that I needed to change. And it might be the only way. But I also have to do the other point against it, which is it doesn't work for everyone. I don't know, how are you gonna argue with me on this? Are you saying for every single person in the world, shaming is the best tactic to use on them at every moment? Sure, you're a fair guy. I'm sure you can agree that there are people in this world, you claim them to be female and feminine, that would be more strong if you just give them a little bit of empathy and validation at the beginning. Me personally, right now, I can think of all the black pillars and incels, but that's a topic for another day. Me personally, the whole reason I'm even wanting to do social media is to spread that message. Because I used to be an ex-red pillar, ex-kind of Hamza lover. I've even bought your course. I've been in Adonis school. I used to post about my problems and people would call me a pussy. All your students, you must be proud of them, right? Never worked for me. You know what? Maybe it contributed, maybe it planted seeds in my head and it made me feel pain that contributed to me changing. But I would not attribute my change based on people shaming me. Maybe it's the pain itself was a reason for me to change, but the actual tactic that got me to actually change and consistently build good habits, which I've now done consistently. I used to be someone that was in what you call a self-improvement depression. Props to you, Hamza. I'm using a lot of terms that you came up with. You know about the self-improvement depression, where you're in a period of time where you do really good habits and then all of a sudden you go back to all your old habits and you constantly get in this cycle of doing good habits and then bad habits and then good habits and then bad habits. Well, I was in this cycle ever since I was 14, all the way up until I was 20 years old. And right now I feel like I'm in the process like you were when you went back to your parents' house after, I don't know, breaking up with your girlfriend, I think it was, and you locked in. I think I'm not as locked in as you, but I started this habit thing seriously, and I've been consistent. And I'm basing my whole channel and sort of brand philosophy on my nuanced, different approach to grab my different approach to grab the attention of red pill victims. I'm calling your target audience red pill victims because they like manosphere content, right? And that's my philosophy is nuance. It's at the end of the day, love, wanting to create an impact, and serve my own self-interest. That's what you want, right? You want to help young men and make money. I want to help young men and make money. And I have very different opinions from the rest of the world. A lot of different opinions that I can't talk about right now. Let's go right back to your email. You're talking about how shaming men is the masculine thing to do. First of all, you like to use Google definitions, right? And I'm quoting Google definitions because you quoted a Google definition when you were talking about why being arrogant is correct. So I'll use what I remember to be the Google definition of masculinity, which I looked up right before clicking record. And that Google definition is set of characteristics usually associated with men. It's something along those lines, right? And just purely on that definition, you're gonna call me a philosophical or technical retard who, you know, just based on that definition, anything that a man can possibly do is masculine because a man did it. I think you're trying to say the definition of masculinity should be the moral standards of what men should do. Masculinity, at the end of the day, in the manosphere, basically just means what men should do because they're men. And that is incredibly subjective. And I feel like I know now that I'm claiming masculinity is subjective. You're calling me some pussy retard, and you're gonna say obviously men should be strong and don't be weak. And for the most part, I agree. We should be strong. Being strong is awesome. You can relate to that, right? Your life is so much better now that you're not a weak pussy bitch. But my only argument is there are a lot of people that can become strong when they're shown soft love in the beginning, and that includes men. And you're saying we can't be soft, but people kill themselves, man. I know some video you said you should post content because there's gonna be one person out there who doesn't eliminate themselves from this life. They don't kill themselves because you're a content creator. That's a motivation. No video you made. And I'll argue that there are people who do atrocities to themselves and others because they couldn't handle the shame. They couldn't handle being themselves. They hate the people. The reason people do atrocities is either they're complete psychos and delusional, or they know the world hates them and they have no actual love in them. And I know you have good intentions, and that's really all that matters. The fact that you have good intentions, that's all that matters. But there are people out there who will have their lives worse because they technically can't handle what you call masculine criticism. I'd argue it's probably 50-50. I don't know the scientific research or anything, but let me just say this. In past videos, you've respected and shouted out men who are these soft, feel-good, pussy type archetypes, and they're successful too. I'm thinking right now, Ali Abdaal, he literally has a book called Feel Good Productivity. Are you man enough to speak on your word and call him a pussy and be consistent? Maybe you think being consistent with calling soft boys pussies, maybe you think that's the manly thing to do, or maybe you think the manly, masculine thing that you should do as a man is to admit your mistakes, but you recently made a video that you should admit mistakes. You're probably not even watching this video, but I also have to say, this current version of you, this current Andrew Tate type super red pillish alpha male, strong, no weak pussy shit version of you, is not someone who would have blown up. The version of you where you grew the most was where you were being polarizing in the video, but at the end, you sort of validated everyone and said, at the end of the day, how can you not be like this when society has made you weak? My favorite video from you ever is reject degeneracy, embrace God. And that video is one of you kind of not pushing red pill ideals and going against the norm in an empathetic way. And you also used to push heavy your full mental health guide. And you were more empathetic and you weren't just calling people pussies. Why? Because you know that they should just be sold the dream that they need to exercise and do good stuff without shaming. And you also talk about self-identity. What good is pushing the self-identity? What good is someone like you, a huge role model to a bunch of young men, pushing the message of having a bad identity onto people? Like, what good is you calling people fat, ugly losers if that somehow cements into their identity? That's counterproductive. At the end of the day, you can admit there are at least some trade-offs. Maybe you think it's temporary pain, but bro, can you admit that not everyone will change and you make some people for the worst? Yeah, I agree. You can't take care of everyone. You can't. But this conviction is dangerous, and I know you kind of need to be you need to have such conviction and polarization because that's worked for you, and that's the name of the game. That's what people listen to. That makes your business grow. Fair enough. If you just want good business results, what can I do right now? It's a whole different topic I should make on why you should not just focus on the business and instead you should be moral. But we're not talking about this right now. Let's just strip it down to the facts. And the facts are, not everyone will change in a good way because of shame. That's for general society, for the people that aren't like us. That's obvious, but to you, it's not, because you think you have a nuanced take, and you do, and I applaud you for that. It's amazing that you get to think this way. And hola.
Hola.
Hey, my dad is right there. Well, yeah, I applaud you because it is a nuanced take, and you are deeply reflective. You are more fair than the masses by a vast majority, and I applaud you. And you have created so much more good in this world than 99.99999% of people. I'm looking to get like you, man. I respect you. I used to love your videos. Something that has hurt me, I don't know if you care, was that I was watching one of your videos, and in the comment section that they said that they were talking about how you faked wanting to have a family so you can appeal to the traditional type people. Are you okay with that, man? Maybe you are. I'm not here to shame you. Everyone else, like Hamza, at the end of the day, I'm blazing him a lot, and he is a G, man. What he did is not easy, and he does it in such a good way, and he, at the end of the day, is more fair and prideless, and in a way has less ego than the majority of average people who are just living life on autopilot and justifying everything they do. He justifies, we all justify, we're all deeply flawed and probably have a lot of ego and pride. He does it in a little bit alpha male, arrogant way. You do it in a kind of loserish way. I'm sure you can agree with that, right? Hamza, at least you specifically. What was I saying? It hurt me that, I don't know if you lied or not, but I kind of believe it. It's not gonna affect me in the moment. I guess it was just a little bit of a disappointment, but why do you care? The business is good. You're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. What is it, $150,000 a month? And also, a lot of your values that you push onto the world, are you man enough to admit that if those values are true, then Christianity is wrong, that Islam is wrong, that Buddhism is wrong? In a way, you can only push out these values if you push them out to atheists. Because most of them are not going to pick you over their religion. And you go against a lot of religious ideals. And I know you've delved into Islam a little bit, I think. And you're not particularly religious because you haven't felt anything. I am. That's all. I wanted to ask you, do you stand by your choices despite religions? Are you willing to tell your Muslim and Christian followers and clients in your community that you should listen to me and not their religions? Because sometimes you also tell people to just shut up and listen. And most people should probably just do that. But, you know what I mean? Alright, that's it. No, don't leave this video yet. I wrote a bunch of things down. Let me see if I'm not missing anything. But one thing. Ooh, all right. You might think, Hamza, that shaming people causes change because you've seen it happen over and over and over again. But if you don't have a single example of how shaming people can potentially not be helpful, then it's because you haven't seen those people. But trust me, they're out there. I'm one of them. And the other people are simply people that left your school community and you don't have the clear reason why. Other people just stopped watching your videos, but you don't have the data for those reasons. But trust me, they're out there. And a lot of feel-good, soft productivity YouTubers and influencers, they make change and they improve people's lives. Your ego is high, but honestly, so is everyone else's. And this is it. You can do better, Hamza. I think at the end of the day, in the bottom of your heart, you're a really good person. And maybe you'll listen to this, maybe you won't, because who the frick am I? Anyways, God bless you if you believe in love, or that all things happen for a reason, or that all humans have some type of purpose. You probably already believe in God, you just don't even know it yet. God bless you.